So by the time that you're watching this video, there's more or less 48 hours left before the R2Y2s will be removed from research from War Thunder pretty much forever. So if you miss vehicles like the Panther 2 or the Tiger 2 105, it's basically the exact same situation as those vehicles of where the R2Y2s sadly will probably never come to the game again, and you will not be able to research them and you will not be able to attain them pretty much ever. So definitely, if you want to grind them out, do it before the 30th of April, and if you're watching this video after the 30th of April, hello, maybe we can actually talk about the RTY2s, and you can reminisce on a vehicle that you currently cannot get anymore, which is just incredibly sad. So the R2Y2 is a very interesting vehicle for War Thunder because it was added at a time when Gaijin really did not expect for them to go into like the more modern day era of pretty much jets and then aircraft and all sort of stuff. And it was basically made because Japan didn't have anything when it came to a jet bomber. During this time, it was update 1.43 and it was in, I think it was like October of 2014, where they added a bunch of the jet bombers like the B-57, they added stuff like the IL-28, the Canberra. All of these vehicles were added to the game, and well, Japan just didn't have a bomber. So what they did is they took a concept, or they took a vehicle that actually existed, which was the R2Y, and they pretty much made a vehicle that could be plausible that could have flown in World War II if Japan just had the resources to kind of make this vehicle. The problem is the R2Y didn't even have armaments or anything like that. It was more or less a reconnaissance aircraft at the time. And the R2Y2 is, or the R2Y2s are basically just Gaijin's way of saying, hey, we needed an aircraft for Japan, and that was basically it. So the R2Y2s are pretty interesting whenever it comes to the historical value just for the game, and then also the fact that, well, they just never existed, and it was something that Gaijin sadly just made come to the game, and now they're taking it away, which I think is honestly worse than making them in the first place. So if you don't know about me, when it comes to War Thunder, I have a lot of rare vehicles. I have the IS-7, I have the Serblinde, I have vehicles like Object 279. I even have a vehicle that you probably have never seen before, which is the Chihakai Twitch Drop. There's very, very few amounts of these vehicles within the game just because it was for a Twitch drop that basically no one knew anything about. So I assume many of you probably do not have this vehicle. I'm one of those types of people that I would love for everyone to just have access to everything. I don't really like to pretty much gatekeep vehicles, and if you're like that, I think you're just a very self-centered person, and I'm just going to flat out say it, is that this is a video game. I don't really care at the end of the day if someone is able to go play an Object 279 or play an IS-7 or play a rare vehicle that I had to grind to actually get. I just don't care at this point. I more or less want people to experience the whole game without being pretty much barred and have barriers to actually experience different areas that you just can't obtain anymore. I mean, there's premiums that's been removed. There's vehicles that you can only get on the War Thunder market for an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, it's to the point of, just to me at least, it's one of those things that I really dislike about the game is that the access to vehicles and access to lineups is very, very sad when it comes to the game. Like, for example, we're looking at my Hangar right here. Germany does not have a 7-0 lineup unless you have the Panther 2, unless you have the Tiger 2 105, and the only tech-tree vehicle that you have that's actually a 7-0 is the Kugelblitz. So if you don't have the Panther 2 and you don't have the Tiger 2 105, guess what? You can't make a 7-0 lineup. And now, when it comes to the Japanese R2Y2s, I don't think they're incredibly meta, to be quite frank with you. I mean, they're pretty good at a turn fight, and that's basically it whenever it comes to ARB. They don't get their air spawn anymore, and they also are still considered... Now, they're not considered a bomber, but they basically have a bomb that can do a little bit of work. But most of the time, you're going to be using these 30mm cannons to great effect for aircraft. But the thing that the R2Y2s, I think that many people overlook, is that these 30mm cannons are super meaty. You not see that shell that this thing has? APHE. You know what other vehicles have APHE? Yak 9K. You know how powerful that thing is. But just now imagine instead of just one cannon, on this 30mm cannon right here, you have 4 of them. So it may not have a ton of pun. You only got like 38mm of pun. But the thing that this vehicle does really well is that it shoots lightly armored targets and just nukes them. And you know what one of the most lightly armored target is at this battle rating bracket of 8.0? It's going to be SPA. So this thing is incredible for taking out SPA, because look at this as well. You have 600 rounds of ammo even for each one of these guys. And it's just really good at doing that. I mean, you do also have the bomb. So, like, for example, if there's a vehicle that you cannot kill, like a mouse or something like that, you can just drop it on the mouse, and then it's just easy to whack them out. But overall, I'm just really kind of disappointed in that it's getting took away, especially since we have had vehicles added to the game, like the wonderful down here, this guy right here, the F-16AJ. This vehicle is pretty much a fabrication of what it would be. It never existed. You also have very huge discrepancies with stuff like the J6K1. Did it have the armament that it has? Who knows? But it's one of those things for War Thunder that I feel like it's a pick and choose system of what they want to enforce of we want this game to be some sort of historical reality to it, and then what they choose to keep into the game. Because if you go look at Naval, there's just a ton of vehicles that have basically never even put down. They were like blueprint ships. But if you go to vehicles like, for example, the F5C, I mean, there's been a ton of people who have actually said the F5C, which is right here, this is a vehicle that shouldn't have flares. But it does, because Gaijin didn't want to sell a premium that would just get whacked out of the sky by an AIM-9J. So I mean, there's a ton of vehicles like that. I mean, you got the Yak 141, which is shrouded in a little bit of controversy. I mean, it's basically just the whole entire game picks and chooses which vehicles they want to allow, and I think that is a huge problem for the game just in general. Because while, yes, I do agree the R2Y2s never existed, should they have been put into the game to begin with? Probably not. But they are in the game, and now you're removing them. Just like you removed the Panther 2, just like you removed the Tiger 2 105. And now you're limiting people on what they can run when it comes to the game. And just remember, this is one vehicle that like no one ever talks about. China also had this exact same thing happen to them, where they got their PT-76 removed. Which, I mean, the PT-76 is really a crap vehicle. It's not. This one doesn't have a stabilizer, and you're still running with a stock round of an APCR. But the fact remains the same: is that you're taking away the ability for some people to run different lineups and run different vehicles, which in my opinion is a huge negative to the game. So yeah, once again, guys, this vehicle will be here until the 30th of April. You have about 48 hours-ish by the time this video comes out. I hope to get this video out on Monday morning. And by that time, hopefully you guys are going to get this thing, because I mean, it really, if you're within like the rank 3 and rank 4, I feel like you maybe can speed grind and get it. Just remember that this vehicle right here, you only need to get this one and get this one and put one research point into the V3. So it's going to work. It's just like the mouse. If you played with the mouse right, of where it comes around each anniversary event, the mouse you can actually research after the anniversary event is over if you just put like 1 RP into the vehicle. So it's going to be basically the exact same as we see down here with Japan. So just get 1 RP into the V3. If you don't want the vehicle, fair enough. But as a content creator and as someone who has played this game for a very, very long time and just heard a lot of people talk about the game, there's a lot of people who miss not being able to get access to the Panther 2 or the Tiger 2 105s. And this is going to be another situation of, well, you may not want it now. You may not want it in 3 or 4 months. But who knows? This vehicle could go down to battle rating to like 7.3, and it's just good again, and you just won't be able to have access to it. I mean, 8.0 is a little bit extensive for this because you can face sabers and you can face like mix 17s, and there's really nothing you can do against them. But at the same time, it's still a vehicle that has a very niche playstyle, especially in ground. Like I said, with these APHE belts, it's probably one of the best anti-SPAs within the game. And while, yes, you're shooting at radar SPA, just remember you can hug the ground and you can come in, and it just takes 1 or 2 shells to connect to them and they're gone. So it's really good at that. That's what I've been enjoying this vehicle lately when it comes to Japan's 8.3 lineup with the wonderful, this guy right here, Type 74 Red Star. I got a nuke with this vehicle in the very first game I ever played with it, which was crazy. But yeah, this is the R2Y2. It's sad. Really, I mean, it just truly is. I mean, we'll take a look, especially since you may be watching this video in the future and just wonder what the R2Y2s even looked like. You have this one. They all have basically the exact same armament. You have an 800 kg bomb, and then you have 4 30mm cannons. This is the only one which has a skin to it, which, I mean, honestly looks pretty nice. I do enjoy that skin. But as you can see, the differences between the R2Y2 V1 right here is that instead of your engines being in the center of the aircraft, it is on the wings instead. It can be a little bit better, especially since your engines are separated, right? So if one gets knocked out, while yes, you don't really have the best thrust to weight ratio with these engines in general, you maybe can limp back home and be able to land. The other one right here, the V2, basically just takes the engines and puts them underneath the aircraft. So as you can see, they're basically together right here. And then your air intakes are actually right here on the wings themselves. And then finally, you have the V3, which takes the like air intakes off the wings and just put it straight through the nose. So this one does have a little bit more flight performance, which means that it can turn a little bit better and also sustain a little bit more energy than the R2Y2s before it. But overall, like I said, sad day. I really am not looking forward to more vehicles in the future probably getting removed. I mean, if you want my opinion right now, if you want to see Japan, this one right here can be replaced by the F-16 for like Thailand. So I would definitely try to get the AJ at some point. Maybe it will not disappear whenever the F2 comes around, but I highly expect that this one will probably be replaced very soon because it's just a fake vehicle as well. So yeah, I know it's really depressing news today, guys. I was thinking about making this video whenever it was removed from research in general, but I feel like it's better to make it right now. So at least like 1 or 2, maybe 5 of you will see this and realize that maybe you want to get this vehicle before it is removed. And that's what my goal with this video is. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Make sure to get your R2Y2s and see you guys in the next Worth in a video.